What up, y'all? So Rainy Storm checking in for the Mercurial series, and we are moving on right along to Mercury and Virgo. If this is your first time coming in and you like, who is you? Who you be? My name is Rainy Storm. You can hit me up on all social media at Rainy Storm. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I do Mars activations as well as North Node and South Node consultations. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking you and letting you know and getting you a scope of where you've been, where you at, and where you trying to go or would go in this lifetime if you just allow things to be. All right, we're gonna get into this. I'm not trying to be shady already, but Mercury and Virgo, let's talk about it. Anyway, so if you come into this channel for the first time and you're like, oh my God, I'm a Mercury and Virgo, or I know somebody with a Mercury and Virgo, or I want a little bit more information because I just want to learn a little bit more about astrology, you've come to the right place, baby. Because, all right, I don't really have anything, you know. Anyway, so once again, thank y'all for coming through. Everybody who's just joined, this channel. Everybody who's coming through, everybody who's coming in, everybody who's going to continue to come in, the blessings that we're all going to be receiving in this time. I do appreciate you. So communication. Whoa, no. Sorry, y'all. I am definitely recording this during the retrograde. So, excuse me as we talk about Mercury. So, Mercury and Virgo, just Mercury in general, is actually ruling over Gemini and Virgo. They are, so this is Mercury in its home sign. Mercury likes to be in Virgo. It's like, yes, thank you so much for putting me here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really something that is like it's falling in this position or it's, you know what I mean? Like it likes to be here. So if we're talking about Mercury in the grand scheme of things, this is about communication. This is how you communicate on a day-to-day basis. This is like how you like to be communicated with. This is your, siblings. This is the short trips that you take. These are, how you write and the things that you like to write about, you know what I'm saying? And how you truly express yourself on a deeper level. A lot of times, and I've been saying this in the rest of the videos, a lot of times, a lot of people often skip over Mercury, and I feel like it doesn't get the attention that it deserves, especially it being a neutral planet. And also if we knew this about ourselves and if we knew this about other people, I feel like it would be easier for us to communicate with each other. We go to Mars, we go to Venus, we talk about our big threes, we go to Mars and Venus, but I'm like, but what about your Mercury though? I want to know what your Mercury sign is so I know how you get down, and I'll tell you my Mercury sign, which is Leo, but I'm going to tell you my Mercury sign so you know how I get down. You know what I'm saying? And we can figure out a way to maybe possibly meet in the middle. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? So before I do get into this, because I think I popped off and said it in the middle of the video, before I do get into Mercury and Virgo, I will let y'all know you do want to check the aspects, and I will get into aspects in a whole different video. I'm just trying to get through, Mercury. I feel like once I get finish off the personal planets, then I'll start talking about the birth chart and the aspects and the houses and stuff like that. I just want to at least get through the personals. So once we get through that, I'll definitely talk about that. But definitely check in to see what your aspects in your birth chart is talking about, because it could definitely affect the way, this is just a general, synopsis for me about what this sign and this placement, or this planet in this placement is specifically. So Mercury and Virgo, happy. So happy to be here. Loves communication at its base. You know what I mean? If Mercury and Virgo feels like you are able to communicate with them effectively, it makes them happy. It makes them happy. It's like, oh my God, okay, you're telling me how, when, where, why, what. You know what I mean? Like, it's very surface based on that sense of like, I need it to be practical. I need you to tell me what it is, what it ain't, what it is. You know what I mean? Even though it's mutable earth, it's still, there's like a fixed quality in the Mercury and Virgo, of a sense of it just likes to know what. Now, one thing that is so funny, a Mercury in Gemini versus a Mercury in Virgo, even though it's in their home signs, it's still completely different in communication. Like, Virgo is really obsessed with the details, like really fucking obsessed with the details. That's why I said who, what, where, when, why, how. Like, it needs to know, but sometimes it can get so obsessed with, you know, the when, where, why, how, what, whatever, that it gets too stuck in like that information, and it can become kind of mechanical in that sense. I put calculated risk. So for Mercury and Virgo people, you know, instead of just doing some shit off the whim, you know what I'm saying? Mercury and Gemini would do some shit off the whim. You know what I mean? Mercury and Virgo, it's like pulling fucking teeth. It's just to get Mercury and Virgo like out of its mindset or out of its zone to do something a little different. You know what I mean? When it's been so used to doing things this way. But this is very observant, very discriminating in the sense of where it's very nitpicky of like what goes in, what goes out. Thinking before you actually make a decision. So this is not the type of energy that's gonna look at something and be like, oh, this is it. And not to say it's like indecisive like Mercury and Libra per se, but it's like, what's going to be the best option for me or the people? Because, you know, if we're talking about Virgo in a sense, it's a service of the people. It's a service to the greater, the larger collective or the smaller collective before we get into Aquarius. So what is going to be, you know, beneficial for this community that I serve within this realm and, you know, these things. And so it might take Virgo a minute to actually come to have a come to Jesus moment and be like, all right, this is what we're going to go to. I got to think about it first. A lot of activity in the mind, a lot of activity in the brain. Shit is always going. Shit is always like popping, like in the mind. It's really, it could be very hard for Mercury and Virgo to sleep. I honestly would recommend, and this is something that I'm going to be getting into. Once again, I know I've been talking about this for a while and I did do it before. We're going to get back into it. But I would recommend, I'm not going to necessarily, okay, I won't say this. I won't necessarily recommend the herbs per se, but I would say that Mercury and Virgo would be definitely beneficial if y'all went and got into aromatherapy. I feel like aromatherapy for y'all, whether it's incense, whether you're burning some type of herbs or you're burning some type of essential oils or something like that, especially if we're talking about Mercury and Virgo and we're talking, this is health and wellness, this is routine. Like, I feel like if you took time before you got your day started to really sit and you know, sit into like do some like aromatherapy meditations and things like that, to where you're calming your mind, you're calming your spirit. Mint is coming up for me, spearmint is coming up for me, lavender is coming up for me, you know, eucalyptus is coming up for me for y'all. It would be behoove you to actually sit with that energy to really calm your mind, because you have so many messages, so many things like coming through your mind. You know, this is the messenger god, Mercury, and you know, spirit literally using you as a vessel, as your Mercury, to communicate the messages that need to be communicated. Very intuitive, very psychic. You sit across from Mercury and Pisces, so very intuitive, very psychic, you know. Even though you live in this earth-based world, you do also live in the spiritual realm. This is very old soul energy. So I look at Mercury and Virgo being like the old lady, you know what I mean? Like the wise old lady or the wise old man that is like just giving you knowledge and wisdom, because this is the 6th sign versus Pisces being the 12th sign. So it's sitting on the opposite end of those things. It's like you just have this innate wisdom that you've carried through all these past lives into this life, and being able to communicate the messages of your ancestors, being able to communicate the messages of the gods, being able to communicate all these messages in a way that, you know, people will come to you. You love when people come to you for advice, but people will just naturally gravitate and want to come to you to give them a neutral understanding of what's what. You know what I'm saying? Very, very organized in the mind. So, for example, and this is just Virgo energy in general, but I feel like, so A Mercury in Virgo will literally take stuff, you know, instead of taking stuff out of a bag or taking stuff out of the bag and putting it away, a Mercury Virgo will literally take stuff out of the bag, organize everything that's come out of that bag, and then put the shit away. It's the craziest shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. But it happens, you know what I mean? It definitely is, because the mind is just like, all right, before I do this, let me do this, then this. It's that kind of energy. Definitely mentally needs to be stimulated. You need to be mentally stimulated. You'll get bored really easy if your mind is not. You're definitely not a surface based type of person. Is very like Mercury and Scorpio as well. But you like to kind of penetrate things on a deeper level, because you do love the details. Honestly, I feel like Mercury Virgo and Mercury Scorpio would definitely go hand in hand in that, of like, y'all could have a conversation beneath the surface. Actually, Virgo was actually the sign of the occult back in the day. I don't know if it was before or after Scorpio, but this was like the underground, underground orders, the secret orders. I look at it as like you had to go through like this underground, process before you can use like your magic and your alchemy, up and willingly. You had to know how to harness that power. So if we're talking about Mercury and we're talking about Virgo being the hermit, there's a lot of times that you have to go within yourself. You have to separate yourself from other people. You have to separate yourself from the noise in order to really get the messages that you were put on this earth to receive and be able to carry out to the people. So yeah, overthinking is a must. And not to say that you need to, but I'm saying that this is something that you do because you do have so many messages and you have so many things that are, so, you need to be working out, Virgo, Mercury Virgo. You definitely need to be working yourself out, working your body out, working your mind out, writing, when you can, speaking when you can, communicating what you believe when you can, to people that are actually listen. And even if people don't listen, this is just something that you need to do to basically just really clear your energy out. You're very practical, you know what I'm saying? So when people are trying to communicate with you through being impractical or very emotion-based responses or emotional-based responses, you tend to shut down, because you're the type of person that you want somebody to really just talk to you. You like, if you just talk to me and tell me what's on your mind and you communicate it in a way that I can understand, then we can have a conversation all day. But if it's just literally like, you know what I mean? It feels like an attack. It's coming like shots and shit. Like, you be like, I don't really know what you're saying. Like, I don't even know. It's really, you just kind of shut it all down. You really will shut your mind down. So if you coming at Virgo, I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, come at Virgo with the facts. You feel me? Or Virgo will be relating the facts. This is what I know. This is what I know to be true, and I'm just relaying those messages out to you so you kind of get a broader scope of like where I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? Very much so a perfectionist. Very much so a perfectionist. Virgos are very, we're very perfectionist in our craft, but just Mercury and Virgo in itself, it is that perfectionism energy. It wants to get things right the first time. And honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that. But what has to happen in trying to get things right at the first time is you have to allow yourself to make mistakes. The reason why things aren't perfect and the reason why we do make mistakes is so we can learn from those mistakes. So try not to be so hard, because it's easy for Mercury and Virgo to mess up and be so hard on itself for messing up, or hard on itself for doing something right or doing something wrong, or feeling like they did something wrong and hold it over their heads and keep thinking about it and keep mulling over it and all this other type of stuff, because you want to get things right. But like your Mercury and Pisces sitting on the other side. Allow yourself to make those mistakes. Sometimes you have to be the fool in life. Sometimes, you know, there's going to be people that come in that you feel like maybe manipulated you, or you gave your power. Like, it's all right, Virgo. It's part of life. You know what I mean? It's all right, Mercury, Virgo. It's all a part of the plan. It's all a part of the process, and it's all a part of the life. So you can learn, you know, and you can learn from those lessons and be able to move forward in a stronger position and in a stronger standpoint, you know, than what you originally came up, or different perspective than what you came in. And since we are talking about perspectives and we are here on that, you have to let go of control. And I know, baby, it's easier said than done. I get it. I know it's easier said than done to feel how you feel. That's why I said, even though Virgo is mutable earth, so we're talking about mercurial mutable earth, there's still a fixed quality, because it's like, well, this is what I believe. It's very Mercury Leo in a sense as well too, in a, like, of like, this is what I believe. Y'all motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. Like, I know. Because what Virgo will do that Mercury and Leo won't do, I'm going to say Libra, or Mercury and Leo won't do, but sometimes we'll put on the back burner, is the details. Before Virgo speaks, before Virgo says or relays that message to you, that motherfucker is literally going over all the facts, all the details. So when it does speak, it's speaking from a place, and it'll work for your benefit as well. It'll make you feel more confident when you do this too, of like, you know, researching the information and getting information, so you're able to speak from a standpoint of like, you've already done the work, you know, to get where it is that you at. You feel me? Yeah. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you feel better when you speak, because you've already done the necessary work. You know what I mean? Can be very reserved, in a sense, very reserved with thoughts and things. But I think because you come here to help and serve, not just other people, but just for yourself, but just in the sense of serving the collective, you have things that you need to talk about, Virgo. Like, you have things that you need to speak on, because you are able to, you know, with you getting these facts and being able to pull all these things in and being able to analyze, because it's very, you know, analytical, and just being able to like process all this information the way you are, because you have a lot of capacity. You and Gemini, Mercury and Gemini have a lot of capacity to really, you know, take in information and process this information. You need to speak, you know, because you have the tools and the keys to be able to change things and make things different, and not just change things just because you want to just change it, but you want to change it for the betterment of the people. You want to change it for the betterment of the world. You feel me? So can be very thorough, you know what I'm saying? That goes back to that fact checking and things like that. Very thorough with information, very thorough with what it knows and what it believes. Very responsible. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying for the most part, very responsible, very reliable. People can count on you to be there. People can count on you to do the things that you say you're going to do, and do the things that you say that you're going to commit to. So in relationships, you know, you're looking for that. You're looking for people to just be, you know, honest to a point of where they're just saying how they feel. You know what I mean? So you're comfortable enough to be able to communicate how you feel as well. Honestly, like I said, you want to see the aspects, but Mercury and Virgo can be very blunt as well. And sometimes if Mercury and Virgo isn't being blunt, because I feel like people don't want to hear the truth. And there's a part of you that wants to relay that before you get to Mercury and Libra that's like, I don't know. Mercury and Virgo is like, okay, this is what it is. This is what it ain't. Boom. Like, these Mercury and Virgo definitely speaks from, these are facts. You feel me? But you have to, with that, because you're very intelligent, you're highly intelligent. Once again, if people don't agree with you, or if people have not come to that conclusion, or if people are not on the same wavelength as you, you cannot go toe to toe. I wouldn't say you cannot. Try not to go toe to toe with people about those things. And I know for you it's going to be hard to do because you like debatable. What you mean? You know what I mean? But you do have to allow other people to come to their own conclusions. You can only speak on what you know to be true. You feel me? Hates conflict. And when I say hates conflict, it's not that you can't deal with conflict, but you just don't like drama. You don't like drama shit. You don't like dealing with drama shit. I'm just hearing this. It don't matter. This is what I'm hearing. It don't matter. It don't matter. Like, I'm not going back and forth. It just don't matter. That's what I'm hearing. Like, if it doesn't matter, if it doesn't make sense, you're not really trying to take out the time to go out of your way to go toe-to-toe with somebody who hasn't even, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, it's beyond you. You know, you feel like it's like, I'm good. Detail-oriented. Love the details. Heavy on the details with a little side of detail. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you and Mercury and Libra would be, especially if it came to, like, event planning and things, or put in a project or things like that together. You know, Mercury and Libra, and I'm gonna get onto that in the next video, is very much aesthetics. But you know, when you really zoom in, you know, when you take your phone and you zoom into the picture, you know, of, or whatever y'all created or whatever y'all set up, Mercury and Virgo is gonna be like, oh damn, like, y'all see the details in this shit? Like, look at this painting. Like, put it like this. Mercury and Virgo is like, Mercury and Libra is like the full painting, what you see. And then when you zoom into it, that's Mercury and Virgo. Of like zooming into like what kind of texture of the paint. Like, is it watercolor? Is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of paint? Is it acrylic? You know, and is it, you know, did somebody put like little spots or dots in it? Like, that's Mercury and Virgo. So detailed in the, you know, or getting like the necessary details, or like a dress. You know, somebody puts on this bomb ass dress, but then you like get really close on the dress and it has like, you know, sews or little designs in it, or little swirls in it, or little beads in it. Mercury and Virgo, bitch. It's about the details, okay? Very high expectations, but you want to make sure that you don't set your expectations. Not to say that you can't have high expectations, because, hey, right here what you be. But you don't want to set your expectations so fucking high that, like, you know, you can't even uphold them expectations, or you can't even, or nobody can match those expectations that you have for yourself. So just setting realistic goals, setting realistic expectations, you know what I'm saying? Let people live their own lives. Okay, so if we talked about giving up that control, allow people to live their own lives. You can give all the fucking advice in the world, Virgo, Mercury, Virgo. You can give all the advice in the world, but people have to get to their own understanding of shit in life. They just have to. There's nothing that you could do. All you could do is live your fucking life. If somebody asks you for your opinion, you can give it and you move the fuck on. But don't be motherfucking Bob the Builder, Virgo the Builder in this bitch, trying to fix everybody's mind, ideas, emotions, whatever, so you feel better about yourself. Like, no. Feel better about yourself on your own, okay? Feel better about yourself on your own, so when people do come up to you, you're not putting all of your energy, you know, your pure energy into other people who are not willing to do the work for themselves, because you are. Okay? You're willing. So yeah, that is my analysis of Mercury and Virgo. We're going to be moving on to Mercury and Libra, and then we're going to be moving on to Mercury and Scorpio. So for those of y'all, once again, that's been checking in, it's a rainy storm. You can find me on all social media. Araneaestorm.wix.com/info. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, the link is going to be in the bio. And other than that, we'll see y'all motherfuckers later. Deuces.